have just learned that OJ Simpson has died at the age of 76. His family putting out this statement just moments ago. On April 10th, our father, Orenthal James Simpson, succumbed to his battle with cancer. He was surrounded by his children and grandchildren. During this time of transition, his family asks that you please respect their wishes for privacy and grace. And that was from the Simpson family. Apparently was battling cancer, Sandra. And as I think you had said that you'd seen him recently, and he had looked fairly frail in the last few months.
Yeah, prostate cancer that he was not able to overcome, obviously. And I believe it was a TMZ camera that stopped him and asked if he would enter hospice care, and to which he replied no. He's 76 years old. He began to look very frail during his cancer battle. Clearly, everything you just described about his later part of his life overshadowed his early football success. I mean, this was OJ Simpson, Buffalo Bills, 11 seasons in the NFL, but all that professional success obviously overshadowed by his trial and controversial acquittal for the murders of his former wife, Nicole Brown, and her friend, Ron Goldman. I mean, we all have our memories going back to those days. I know you have yours. We can picture the white Bronco and the police chase. And wow, was that a time, 1995, Dana?
Indeed. Yes, I was a waitress at the time when that jury decision came down. But also, I mean, to look back before all of that happened, you know, he had a pretty incredible football career. He won the Heisman Trophy in 1968. He was playing for the University of Southern California. He set numerous records there, as I'm sure the sports fans amongst us will be able to tell me. He was inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1985. And then, you might not, I don't know if do you remember he was an actor?
Yeah.
Yes, and he was in, what was that movie?
I wouldn't be able to tell you that.
One on the plane, Naked Gun. That's the one I'm remembering.
But I know that was part of his very complicated career before all of this happened. Someone who knows a lot about that is Jim Gray, Dana. He is joining us now.
Oh, great.
Jim, I know you've gotten the news. OJ Simpson dead at the age of 76 following his prostate cancer battle.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to process this because such an amazing football career. Broadcasting career, and then overshadowed by the conviction of civil charges on the killing of Ron Brown and Nicole Brown Simpson. I'm sorry, Ron Goldman. I knew OJ quite well. When I worked at CBS, OJ worked at NBC, and they would send me to his games. And he would end up giving me a ride home from the airport, ride to the game, spent several meals together. And I never saw a guy who enjoyed his public persona more than OJ Simpson. He would show up at a place and everybody would light up. Then, of course, he was acquitted on those charges, but accused of murder. And I never spoke to him again after that time.
Oh, is that right?
I did see him at a fight one night. Yeah, I did see him at a fight one night, but our paths did not cross. But a very disturbing, complicated life.
Yeah.
OJ Simpson had.
Tell us about his early football talents at the University of Southern California, indeed, winning the Heisman, setting numerous records.
He was a great football player, great running back. He had the single-season rushing record for a long, long time in the National Football League that was broken by Eric Dickerson. In 1984, Dickerson's record still stands to this day, 2105, but OJ was the first running back in the National Football League to eclipse 2,000 yards in a single season. Hasn't happened too much in the National Football League history, and he had that record. And he was a bigger-than-life figure. When he came to the University of Southern California, he kind of lit up. He kind of lit up the playing field. And he kind of took Hollywood by storm. He was one of those guys that had this magnetism that attracted everybody to him, and had a big smile, had a tremendous career in commercials with Hertz, amongst others, and running through airports. And he was an icon in football. And he went on to have a broadcasting career with ABC and NBC, appeared regularly with Howard Cosell, and he was a fixture. He was a fixture and had a spotlight in America on television because of what he had done on the football field, and was also in some movies.
Yeah, and a lot of Hertz commercials I kind of remember as well. Jim, do you sort of remember going back to that moment in time when you learned that he was accused of these heinous murders? I mean, this was somebody you knew on the football field. And as you just described, this big personality who would stop the room when he walked in it and light up the room. I mean, what do you remember going back to that moment in time when you learned he was accused of this?
It was hard to believe because I had been in OJ's company hundreds of times, and I'd never seen him have a bad public moment. He had signed every autograph. He smiled for everybody. He shook every hand. He was available. He was accessible. He was seemingly very comfortable with his celebrity. I knew Nicole, had played softball in their 4th of July softball games, been over to his house on numerous occasions. Obviously had a double life. I did not know of any of the domestic abuse that had been going on. So I was shocked when I heard this about OJ Simpson, and the more and more evidence that came out, it just became more and more shocking. I didn't know about any of the extracurricular activities that he might have had with any drug involvement or anything like that. So, you know, it was all a huge surprise, and you know, it was shocking and it was sad for those of us who did know him. To learn that this had gone on and the depth of it. So yeah, it was very, very hard to reconcile. And as the years have gone on, you know, it didn't make it any easier. How could a guy be like this that you thought you knew, yet like this that you didn't know? And so, like I said, a very strange, complicated, disturbing life. It's, you know, hate to see anybody die, particularly somebody who you know, you had known quite well. But
I can hear Jim.
I don't really have the words for that right here, because you know, it's just, you know, you just how do you sum up someone's life like this?
Yeah, we appreciate the raw emotion of it, and you, of course, we're going to be here to talk about the Masters and how exciting that is. And this news just breaking again: OJ Simpson, born September 9th, 1947, has passed away from complications from cancer. His family says he was surrounded by them. They've asked for privacy at this time. Just talking a little bit about, you know, the not guilty verdict. It was incredibly controversial. It sparked a lot of conversation about race and celebrity and the criminal justice system. He actually then wrote a book titled If I Did It, and that was marketed as this hypothetical account of how he would have committed the murders, and that was a very controversial issue as well. And then had gone on, you know, he had additional problems with the law, Sandra, in 2008, convicted of armed robbery and kidnapping, and yet he was still always out there, as Jim was just saying. When he knew him before all of that happened, that he really loved his public persona. He loved being out there. And I think that was even true even the last several years. We've seen that as well.